Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my 2024 most anticipated book releases. I am super excited for all of these books. Clearly, otherwise they wouldn't have made the list. I'm really bad at summarising the plot of books, so I'm just going to get on with it because otherwise it's going to be like an hour long and nobody wants that. So without further ado, here are my most anticipated reads for 2024. So the first book on this list is Play Along by Liz Tomford. This is the fourth book in the Windy City series. So for those of you who don't know who Liz Tomford is, she is a sports romance writer and I am super excited for this one. It comes out on the 11th of June, which is very exciting because I am going to be off around then, so you can bet your bottom dollar bill that I'm going to be downloading this book and reading it immediately. This one in particular, I can't remember the name of the characters, but it's going to be following Kai's brother and also the woman who works on the baseball team who's like she's like a sports therapist, I think, and she doesn't want to get involved in a relationship with anyone on the team because she could get fired for it, and Kai's brother is just constantly trying to pursue her. I'm so excited for this one. There's brief mentions of the characters in the previous book named Caught Up, and honestly, their story so far sounds really exciting. Like the things that have happened and developed in Caught Up, I am so excited to see in Play Along. I cannot wait. I just know that the tension between the two is going to be unfounded, and I'm just so excited for this one. Like there's so much going on already and I just need to know their story. I don't know whether this video is going to be out before I mention this next book, but that is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas. I could not do one of these videos without talking about a new Sarah J Maas book. I mean, it's been 2 years since the last one. After that absolute fucking bombshell that she dropped in, what is it called? House of Sky and Breath? Obviously, House of Flame and Shadow was going to be on this list. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this. I keep saying that my mind, my body and my soul is ready for this book, but genuinely, I don't think it is. I know this book is going to make me cry, and I'm not ready. And I'm already not okay on any level. We all know that I'm Sarah J Maas trash. I love her books, I love her writing. The Crescent City series so far has been super entertaining. I would say out of all of her series, number one would be Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass is always that top spot. Second would be Crescent City because it is that good. And third would be ACOTAR because I'm like, nah, it's alright. Crescent City honestly blew me away when I read the first book, and I've loved it. And you know what, I'm not okay with waiting 2 years for a sequel, but also at the same time I kind of am. But I am ready for the next book, and these snippets that we're getting, girl, I'm so excited to see the Hind again. The Hind is my favourite character. For those of you who don't know what the Crescent City series is about, it follows a young woman named Bryce and is set in kind of like an urban fantasy setting. And about a year prior in the first book, her best friend ended up being murdered, and the first book is all about her trying to figure out what happened, and crazy things are happening. I'm telling you, okay, first of all, I'm sick of hearing the ACOTAR girlies talk about the fact that I can't get into Throne of Glass. If you don't like it just because you're looking for smut, get the fuck off of my YouTube channel. If you are an ACOTAR girly and you are still saying to the publishers, oh my god, when is ACOTAR fucking numero uno a million being released? Fucking read the rest of her books. I don't know how many times people need to tell you. Now people are getting butthurt because they've been spoiled by Sarah J Maas herself. I'm not going to say my opinion on that. I mean, it's been out for 2 years, and if you only ever wanted to read ACOTAR, that is your problem. So sorry. The next book I'm going to mention, I'm going to show the physical copy off because it has been released and I'm not going to lie, I'm nearly finished with it. But that's Ruthless Vows. I initially filmed this video before this had released, and then I've decided to go back and refilm it because I wasn't happy. This was on my anticipated list and I'm going to keep it on there because this has released in the UK this year. I don't know about the rest of the world. America got it last year. we got it this year. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which is a young adult romantasy duology that takes place in a world where there is a war going on between two gods. We're following a young girl named Iris who ends up taking a job at a newspaper because her brother is currently missing in action in the war, and her mum turned to alcohol and lost her job, so she needs money. And at this newspaper she has an academic rival named Roman Kit, who is the complete opposite of her. He is rich, he is cantankerous, and they are battling it out to try and win a columnist position, and there's only one position and she really needs it and he doesn't, and obviously things ensue from there. It's like an enemies to lovers thing. It's really fucking good. It was one of my favourite books from last year, and this was on my anticipated reads list, and you know what? I love this duology. I love it. Honestly, if you read anything that I say you need to read, it would be Divine Rivals and the sequel, and I'm not saying any more than that. The next book I'm going to mention very, very briefly, and that is because 1, there is no cover, and 2, there is no release date, but I'm just going to say it. Fourth Wing Free, or I think it's the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. So the 3rd book in this series. Unpopular opinion, I really like the 2nd book. In fact, I feel like I almost love the 2nd book more than the 1st. I know the dialogue can be cringy. I know a lot of people like just thought that the 2nd book went off on a tangent and whatever. I was just super entertained by it. I think we've all gathered by now I'm absolutely trash, and to be honest, I was just vibing with it. I enjoyed the vibes and I was there for the vibes, and I'm excited for the 3rd book. And that's all I'll say. I'm assuming we'll get it at the end of the year at some point. I think she is currently writing the 3rd book. So I'm gonna guess November of 2024. That's what I'm putting my money on, or it could be January next year. It depends on when Sarah J Maas brings out her next ACOTAR book. I fucking hope that comes out next year. I can't wait any longer for that. The next book on my anticipated reads list, and it annoys me so much that I have to wait this long for this one. It's only a year from the last one, but like, after reading the 2nd book, I really want the 3rd one. So that is Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This comes out on August 20th of this year, and it is the last and final book in the Belladonna trilogy. So the Belladonna trilogy is a gothic romantasy that follows a young woman named Signa Faro, and she is orphaned as a baby, and she is kind of like passed on from family member to family member, and everyone around her basically thinks that she has this curse that follows her because everyone around her usually dies, and she can actually see death himself, and to do that she takes belladonna berries. Now when she is passed on to her last family, which is the Hawthorns, she finds out the lady of the house actually died I think a few months or a year prior to her arriving, and then the daughter of the household currently has the same sickness as her mother. And in this book you actually have kind of like a mystery subplot going on as well as the romance. Let me tell you, I devoured both of the books in this trilogy so far, but the 2nd was my absolute favourite. We're introduced to a character named Prince Aris, and I know in the 3rd book we're going to get more of him, and I need more of his sass. I just know that the 3rd book is going to be so tension filled, and there's just going to be such enemies to lovers vibes in it that I cannot wait. Oh my god, and this cover, I know the UK ones are different to the US, but both the covers, the US and the UK ones, are like superb. I love this trilogy already, guys. Belladonna, I would say Divine Rivals and Belladonna, just give them a go. Honestly, just give them a go. The next book on my anticipated reads list is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. Now this was actually on an anticipated reads list I think maybe like 2 years ago. It was initially I think set to be released earlier on. It's releasing this year. I don't know what happened there, but it obviously didn't release. First of all, this cover is beautiful. I love it. At the time, it was being advertised as Vampires meets Peaky Blinders. I've never seen Peaky Blinders, but I know it's right up my alley, and I was like, that description alone makes me want to read this. Now it's being advertised as perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows, and that sold me too. As far as I know, this follows a young girl who runs a tea room that by night becomes a bloodhouse for vampires, and her business is actually threatened, and she has to pull off this heist, and obviously she has to drag along a bunch of other people to be able to do that, which I guess is where the Six of Crows thing comes in. I am so excited to read this. I've heard really good things about this author before with her other series. I've just never read it before. I just like the idea of this plot, and I want to read more about vampires because I feel like vampires have died a death and I really enjoy vampires. I think we should make them trend again. And this one actually comes out next month, so there is not actually long to wait for this one because it comes out on February 20th. So the next book on my list has already released, and it released on January 2nd, but that is A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. This is a young adult Regency era romance that follows this girl who essentially has this gift where she can weave emotions and memories into fabric, and she knows it will eventually kill her. Now, she is hired by the royal family of this land to basically make wedding attire for this wedding that's about to happen, and the groom of this wedding, who is the prince, is actually being married off as a political pawn. And during this time, you know, this main character starts uncovering secrets, and her and the prince start having really good chemistry together. And during this time, there is an anonymous columnist who is pretty much trying to expose them, or is about to expose them, for the fact that they get on so well, and like things are happening. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in my Regency era and this one just screams to me. I obviously love Belladonna. I really enjoyed the second book in the Last Hours trilogy. I'm in that era. I'm in that Regency phase and I need more. The next book I'm going to mention, I'm pretty much only excited because of the author. It's usually not something up my alley, but because I've really enjoyed things that this author has written in the past that I haven't expected to like, I'm excited, and that is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. So this one releases on the 9th of April. I am slightly annoyed that there's no news on the third Ninth House book, because I believe that there is going to be another book in that series or trilogy, whatever it's going to be, I'm not sure. I'm just excited because this is Leigh Bardugo, and I know that she's not afraid to branch out, and I love the way she writes. I love the characters that she writes about. As far as I know, this is a historical fantasy, which I usually don't delve into historical stuff much. It's not really my thing. But I do enjoy things that mix other things with fantasy, so I'm excited to see what this one is going to be like. And the only thing that I will say is it says on here that it is set during the Spanish Golden Age. I'm not too clued up on Spanish history. I only know like snippets. I'm just excited to see where this goes. I'm not going to read that synopsis because it's a lot. I think I'm just going to go into this one knowing very, very little, and then hopefully I will come out surprised at the end. I'm excited. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm excited to see what she pulls off. So the next book makes my anticipated reads list because, one, I found the cover intriguing, and two, there is a lot of buzz about this book, and I feel like if I don't try and pick this up and read it, I'm gonna miss out. Like, I've got major FOMO about this one. It comes out on the 27th of February, so there's not long to wait now. And that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. So she is the author of The Bridge Kingdom, which I've never read, but I have heard good things about. Like, a lot of people really liked that series. I've just never read it. I'm excited about this. So this is a Norse-inspired fantasy romance, and I'm just going to read this first little bit of the synopsis because this is what really sold me on this one. Bound in an unwanted marriage, Freya spends her days gutting fish, but dreams of becoming a warrior and of putting an axe in her boorish husband's bag. That's what got me. That is what sold me, and honestly, I'm excited for this. I've never read anything Norse inspired, so I'm really excited for this one. I'm hoping that it's gonna give like Vikings vibes, like the show Vikings. Like, that's the vibe I'm hoping it gives me. The main woman from that, whose name I can't remember, but I fucking loved her. She was my favourite. I'm hoping it gives me that vibe. That's what I'm hoping it's going to give me. If it doesn't give me that, I'm going to be very disappointed. So the next book on my anticipated reads list is Feybound by Sarah L. Arifi. This is set to release on, January 18th. Literally next week. You will be seeing this way after that, so it's literally about to come out. So this is a fantasy trilogy. I don't know if it's YA, I feel like it might be YA, but it essentially follows these two sisters, and one is a warrior in the elven army and the other is a diviner and is seeking like prophecies of a better future. Now at some point a mistake happens and both of the sisters are kicked out of the elven lands into the wilderness beyond, and there they find the Fae Court, which hasn't been seen for a millennia. I believe that there is romance involved. I'm just really excited for this. There's not much on this synopsis, but there's enough to sell me on it. I just think there's so many like interesting things you can do with the Fae. There are so many types, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a very kind of like political fantasy, because I love it when fantasies have a lot of political intrigue. It's one of my favourite things, and I'm just very, very excited for this. I feel like this is right up my alley. So then the last book on my anticipated reads list. Now, I was meant to finish this a book ago, but I discovered this the other day. I need this immediately. This one comes out on May 14th, and it is A Crane Among Wolves by June Her. This author released a book called, I think it's called The Red Palace, which I haven't read and I always wanted to read. I just never got around to it, so I'm not sure what this author's books are like. So I'm not sure whether this is a standalone or a series. So it follows this young girl whose sister is basically kidnapped by this tyrant king who is known for horrifically abusing young women and girls, and her sister has basically become his latest plaything, and so she wants to try and take her back and save her. During this journey she bumps into the king's half-brother who also wants to take him down, and so you have this kind of, I'm gonna guess it's kind of like a fantasy with maybe some romantic elements. I'm not sure. I'm just so ready for this because the last line of this synopsis is save her sister, free the people, destroy a tyrant. I love a good evil character that I can hate, and I'm hoping that this is going to be written so well that I hate this character so much that I'd want to kill them myself. I just think this sounds really good, and the fact that this is based off of a true story gets me even more excited. I don't actually ever think that I've read any fantasy set in Korea, so I'm very excited about that. I've read like a fictitious book set in Korea, but like in the real world, so I'm very, very excited to see what this is like. I'm sold. I need it immediately. May cannot come fast enough. So those are all of the books that I'm anticipating in the year 2024. If you guys have any books that you're anticipating that you think should be on my radar, leave a comment below and let me know what those are. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more content from me, then don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. So bye guys.